Hello, and welcome to Coffee with Carl. This is our first episode, so the intent of the Coffee with Carl is to bring up some basic issues that we hear a lot of questions about, frequently asked questions, and some of the more simple things that come across in everyday life for us as attorneys at Anderson. I am Carl Zoellner. I'm one of the attorneys with Anderson Advisors. Many of you may know me from the classes, or I've answered your platinum questions for those of you that are clients. And those of you that are considering becoming clients, I encourage you to give us a call, and we're always happy to have that free initial consult. As you can probably guess, our subject of today is going to be loans. Wanted to go through some of the basics with loans today, as well as talk about some of the different versions of loans that are out there. Number one is when we're dealing with loans and it's loans to an outside party or not from, say, yourself to your business, we want those to be secured loans. So inside your business, there's some wiggle room simply because you're on both sides of the transaction. But outside, we definitely want those loans to be secured. And secured just means you're taking back collateral in order to have a security in that loan. So let's talk about the two pieces of a loan first. First and foremost, we have the promissory note. Promissory note dictates the terms of the loan. So this talks about, or this refers to, say, the total amount of the loan, what the interest rate is, when it's due, in those terms that basically give the guidelines or paint the corners, if you will, of what this loan entails and what the person who's lending the money expects to see back. There's lots of little different intricacies within loans themselves. I'll touch on a few of them towards the end here, but that's our first piece, and it's going to be the promissory note. Second piece we're going to look at is what we call the security. So this is what makes it a secured loan. So if I'm trying to secure a loan and I'm lending to somebody who's doing a real estate deal, I'm securing that loan by putting a lien on the property in which I'm lending the money on. So, and normally that lien is either referred to as a deed of trust or mortgage. And depending on what state, most states at this point, almost all of them, recognize deeds of trust. You're going to be most familiar with this. But some states are still mortgage-only states. Function the same way. They're both liens. They both show up on title if somebody to run a title search. And it basically helps you to ensure or give you additional guarantees that you'll be paid out when that property sells. So we want to secure our loans. Now, there's another type of lien you can put on or for collateral if, say, you're lending to a doctor, even a contractor that has valuable equipment. In this case, we would use something called a UCC1. UCC is just short for Uniform Commercial Code, and it's in Section 1 of that code. Basically, what it does is it functions almost the same way as a deed of trust or mortgage against real estate, except it's against equipment instead of real estate. So from a legal terminology, we're talking real property versus personal property, equipment being personal property, real property being real estate. So it's important that we have those two pieces so we're secured in that loan so that if that property sells, we know we're getting paid on it and hopefully no hiccups occur from there. Now, I also told you I would touch on a couple of different kinds or some intricacies involved with loans. There's a few different kinds of promissory notes out there that are actually pretty neat tools that you can use in different scenarios. So you still do the security interest, but there's also things called, say, a participating note, meaning that you can take a percentage of the profit in a project versus, say, getting an interest rate. So maybe I would have lent $100,000 at 6%. Well, maybe it makes more sense if I wanted to actually get a percentage of the profit, since I'm loaning that amount of money, that I say I want a 50% return or 50% of the profits on the amount I've loaned for the amount I've loaned to this project. So instead of saying I just want a 6% interest rate, I say I want 50% of the proceeds of the project. Cool tool there. There's also something called a convertible note where I can put money in or loan money to somebody, but I have the option at a future point to convert my profit interest or my interest in that project from debt, meaning the loan, to equity, meaning ownership. There's lots of tools out there that are available. We actually have a lot of them on our Platinum portal in our form section for our clients to utilize and ask about. And we're always happy to answer questions for clients. If you're considering becoming a client, I would encourage you. We do a free consultation. You can ask your questions and we can get you all set up with what you need. We also put out a ton of free content. Toby, Clint, and Michael, the partners at Anderson, tend to put out a lot of advanced material. This is more my space. I like having coffee with y'all, taking up a short video, and asking some of those frequently asked questions. So I think my time is up on this short video. It's been a pleasure talking with you today, and I look forward to catching you on the next episode. Come see me again with Coffee with Carl. Bye.